How you doing? It's Joe here. We're on Instagram TV for a change. I just thought I'd take this moment before I hit the trail to talk about some things that I've learned from some great people over the past few months. People like Aidan Perry from Dander Life, a fantastic hiking blog, Kit Walken from mantracking.com, and Torbjorn Sellen from All in Nature Sweden. Two great friends who are also speaking at this year's bushcraft show in the UK, so I recommend going to check their talks out. There's always something to be learned from every walk of life in the outdoors. But we always put a great onus on skills, and rightly so, for if situation goes bad. But what are you going to do if you lose your lighter? What are you going to do if you do this? But there's also measures that you can take before you leave your car, or before you leave your home, and go out into the woods that don't take any skill at all, just a bit of time and maybe a bit of forethought. The first thing you can do is tell people where you're going. If you want to see why you should do this, check out the film 127 Hours and see why it's a good idea to never head out without someone knowing where you're going and a time to come back. On my fridge at home, I have the locales that I most frequent, like the Proving Grounds, Tilbraden Woods and places like that. And on it are GPS coordinates to where I'd be. Utilising the power of Google Maps is something you can do from your armchair in your living room and just print it out and keep it there so your husband, wife, your partner, your kids, should you not return when you're supposed to, can make the phone call and give exact coordinates to where you're supposed to be. Next thing you can do is get a route card. A route card is a fairly simple thing that you can watch a few YouTube videos on, practice your compasses and learn with your maps, but you can leave that route card then in your car in an emergency folder, which I keep in my glove box. So in that emergency folder you have where you're going to go, your GPS coordinates, and you also have the route card, which is the direction that you're going to be taking, again so people can find you. You want to be found. You can also, and this is a great tip that I learned from Torbjorn, is that everybody's shoes you can find a picture of the bottom of on the internet, a very good detailed picture on the bottom. If not, take one, print it out and leave that in your emergency folder, because then people who are coming to find you now have a ground spoor print to follow and a good indication of the boots that you're wearing. So if they have to track you in the woods, they can see that. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about now. With the magic of editing, I'm going to leave the boot in my car and hit the trail. Bam! And with the magic of editing, we are now outside on the trail. As I was talking about, you've left some stuff in the car. You've left your route card in your folder, your partner knows where you're going to be, and you've left a good copy of your boot print in your emergency folder in your car. So you're now on the trail and you're lost, you're confused, or for whatever scenario that you may find yourself in, things get flipped upside down. So you don't want to practice what we normally practice here, which is leave no trace. You actually want to leave a trace. And one of the cool things I learned at Kit Walken's talk at the Pathfinder basic class in Italy was ground spoors and aerial spoors. Again, there's always something you can take away from any class that you attend to make you a better person outdoors. So we see here on the trail that we got mud all the way down. Normally you would avoid this, but when you want to be found, you want to leave a good ground spoor, which is what that is. So you want to walk in that muddy puddle, Peppa Pig style, and you want to leave good ground spores for the people who are tracking you. That's also stood on grass, puddles, bent over plants that are all around knee to foot length. The next of all is your aerial spores. So this is anything from chest height to kind of eye height. You want to be snapping branches, leaving markers on trees, sticking sticks in the ground, disturbing anything you can to show the people who are trying to find you where you're going. So something to remember: ground spores, aerial spores, and leave as much trace as you can when you want to be found outside. Kit Walken is a really cool lady. She gives classes all over the world. She's a website called mantracking.com. She's also on Instagram too. I'd recommend checking her out. And as always, be safe outside, everybody. See you in the woods sometime. Peace.